Welcome back to Section 2, Lesson 2, Ordering Fractions. Here we'll look at how we can order fractions using manipulatives. So for the first example, we have to order the fractions from least to greatest. And we'll do that using fraction strips. So fraction strips can come in many different sizes. Here we have 1 whole. Here is 1/2, a third. Here we have a quarter, and various other sizes. So now if we're trying to represent 3/5, because 5 is in the denominator, we will use this strip right here. So on a number line, we will place 3 of these strips side by side, and that represents 3/5. Now for 7/10, we will use this block here. So on the number line, I'll place 7 of them. 5, 6, and 7. So here we go. Then we have a half, so we just need one of the pink strips to represent a half. So now when we're ordering from least to greatest, you can see that the smallest fraction is 1/2. Then we have 3/5, and then 7/10. Now besides fraction strips, you could also use pattern blocks. So here we have a hexagon, which represents 1 whole. Now this shape here, which we call a trapezoid, you'll see that when we compare that to the hexagon, it takes 2 of these trapezoids to represent one of the hexagons. So that means one of them represents a half. Now this blue shape is a rhombus. If I place that on the hexagon, it takes 3 of the rhombuses to make 1 hexagon, so that means it's a third. Last, we have a triangle. If I place that on the hexagon and fill it up, it will take 6 of them. So now we'll use these pattern blocks to help us represent the fractions. Now when I look at the fractions, I see that a couple of them are improper fractions because the numerator is bigger than the denominator. And in the middle here, we have a mixed number. So what we're going to do is change them all to mixed numbers and then represent them using pattern blocks. So how do we go from an improper fraction to a mixed number again? Well, first thing we're going to do is divide. We need to determine how many times the denominator can evenly divide into the numerator. So for 13/6, I see that that can go in 2 times. Now that becomes the whole number part in the mixed number. Then we need to figure out how much is left over when we multiply the denominator, 6 in this case, with the whole number part, which is 2. Then that number becomes the numerator. So let's do 6 times 2, which is 12. We subtract that from 13, we get 1. So if 2 is the whole number part and 1 is the numerator, we can write 13/6 as 2 and 1/6. Now let's do the same thing for 7/3. So I have the steps on the right to remind us. So first thing we're going to do is divide. 7 divided by 3 is 2. Then we multiply the denominator by the whole number part. 3 times 2 is 6, and then subtracting that from 7 gives us 1. So putting it all together, we get 2 and 1/3. So now back to the pattern blocks. If I want to represent 2 and 1/6, well, I'll take 1 whole. And because it's 1/6, I'm going to use the green triangles to fill up 2 full hexagons. So this equals 2. Now if I want to represent 1/6, again, I'll get a hexagon and put in 1 triangle. So this is 1/6. So now for 3.5, I will fill up a hexagon with 2 halves, and now I need 3 of these. And then I just need another half. So all together, that is 3 and 1/2. So for 2 1/3, this time I'll use the blue blocks. So we'll completely fill in 2 full hexagons with blue blocks, the rhombuses, and then I just need another third. So now looking at all the shapes, I can see which one is the most colored. Well, the second row has 3 full blocks, so this is the biggest number, and the top row has the least amount colored. So this would be number 1, this would be number 2, and this would be number 3. So now rewriting out the fractions in order, we have 11/6, 7/3, and 3 1/2. So now you can use manipulatives as well as other strategies that we have learned when ordering fractions.